that type of thing. In South Africa, it's not like that. We're small. There's not a lot of athletes, and there's too many fucking federations here. Every Jan Rappens and Mart's busy opening up a fucking federation.
How's the business?
Yeah, listen, we can't complain. We got a job. We at work every day. It's not as easy as it used to be, Lyle, but what do? Eh? We get up every morning, we put on our best clothes, and we go to work.
100%.
Those are the things that we have control over. The rest we don't. So you don't want to spend too much time on stuff that you don't have any control over.
Exactly. It's all about just moving forward, no matter what.
At my day, every day is a new day. You just don't know.
100%. Very unpredictable. But yeah, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. I'm actually very excited for this. But just before we start, just for the people that don't know you, that will be watching, that are first time seeing you speak, will you maybe just give yourself a little bit of an introduction and what you do in the industry and what you do in general?
Yeah, I could do that. Are we live already?
Yes, yeah. Well, I've just started the recording. Yeah.
Can I have a sip of my water?
100%. Go for it. I'll join you.
Designer water. Okay, so I shouldn't be using this as an advertising springboard.
Go for it. I've actually got a case of that somewhere around here.
That's the best.
It is 100%.
All right. Well, look, Arnie Williams. I'm the vice world president of a federation called IBFF, which originates from Eastern Europe, Slovenia. We've had this federation for this is our 7th year. I've been involved in bodybuilding for 32 years. Started off as and I have to think very carefully, 94, 95. I started off in 83. Oh, even before that, as a powerlifter. I was a competitive powerlifter for 5 years. I learned the skills from my good old friend Rodney Anthony. Broke a few records, became the Transvaal champion under 80, had lots of fun. And then I can't remember the date, but at age 29, we went down to Cape Town for a powerlifting meet, the SA Champs. And I came out of the squatting rack, and the squat bar came down on my lower back. I landed up in hospital in traction, in old Goodwood, in traction. And then the doctor said, "Listen, my boy, you'll never compete again." And at that stage, I decided to try my hand in the bodybuilding. I was already 29 years old. To try my hand in the bodybuilding, just as a matter of interest. I played rugby, fairly competitive rugby. After I left the army and the police, I played for Transvaal under 20. Will you believe as a fly half?
No, I wouldn't have said so.
Yeah, a fly half. And then I also played Transvaal Sub-Union. 25, I decided to try my hand on the powerlifting thing. 29, I got the injury. And then after that, I started actually competing. And listen, I've competed in all the federations, the good old days. IFBB, NABA, WPF, of which I eventually became also the president of. Much later with Joanne Rossi, still the gladiator, the ex-gladiator.
Yes, yes.
So I have a very vast experience within the South African bodybuilding fraternity. I've seen people come, I've seen people gone, I've seen some great athletes, I've seen some greater than great athletes, I've seen some funny things, I've done some funny things, I've said some funny things, and listen, you're us still. And what I can say about our beautiful bodybuilding industry in South Africa is that it's very diversified. And we obviously know that. Listen, everything has to be diversified. If your country is involved in 11 different cultures and languages, it's always quite diversified. But to get back to the federation. I flew down. 2014 was the last year we competed at the WPF, and when I got down there, the guys said, "Listen, the old man, or our world president at the time, was very sick and he passed on." So in 2015, there was a massive court case between the son of our world president and the federation because of the naming rights. And to such an extent that in 2015, they decided not to have a world championship, which means we couldn't take our South African athletes to Italy, where we normally would have competed in the WPF.
Yes, yeah.
And as you know, I don't know if you know, La, but WPF was quite a big federation here in South Africa, very well respected. At that stage, everybody used to compete anywhere. I competed in, like I said, NABA, WABA, any private show that I had the need to. IFBB, there was no issues, and we belong to an organization called CONSAT, Confederation of South African Bodybuilding, which was, and I don't know how many of these people watching tonight will actually remember that, but that was the umbrella holding company that looked after all the federations.
Yes, okay.
And it worked very well. It really, really worked very well. Everybody spoke to everybody. There was no animosity. There was no bullshit. It was everybody was for the love of the sport.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Confederation of South African Bodybuilding really got messed up by a few people. And happy to name names, because I suppose that's why I'm here. Victor Clerk was one of them. They just fucked it up. But it was no. Up until that time, it was amazing. It worked for everybody. All the federations worked together, and everybody could compete wherever they wanted to.
Yeah.
Then a lot of changes happening, and the IFBB started putting in very, very strict rules, and that's where the breakup started moving. If you're competing IFBB, you couldn't compete here and there and this and that. And I know up until today, it's kind of like the same. What we must understand, though, and it's always important to know, is that those rules aren't dictated by our guys over here. And sometimes I feel, I feel a bit pity for Wayne, because he's sitting right in the middle, and he takes instructions from his peers on the other side. And I would assume that he would get very, very frustrated. Could I be the president of that federation? They would have fired me long ago. Because I have to take my hat off to him. The man's got patience.
Yeah.
But having said that, IBFF started 2015. That's what I wanted to say. So in 2015, I decided. So I got invited by, and funny enough, I met Dushko, my world president, at the 2014 WPF Worlds. And he said to me, "Listen, I've started a small little federation in Slovenia in 2010. Why don't you come down and have a look, and all the problems that we're having here? Maybe it's a nice federation, and maybe it's something for you to look at if anything goes wrong here." So I think he knew something, because right after that meeting and that competition, everything just fell apart, and the whole WPF imploded.
Okay. Yeah. So you definitely knew something.
So 2015, I'm now at the frail age of 50. I'm saying to Tracy, I said, "Listen, I'm gonna go down there, and I'm gonna check out this federation." I said, "But while I'm down there, in fact, I'm actually going to get ready, and I'm going to compete. I'm going to stand on stage. It's kind of my first year. I'm at age 50. I'm going to spend all the money. I might as well get ready and to compete." So 12 weeks or 14 weeks of hell, 16 weeks, 18 weeks, I don't know. It was hell. It could have also been 2 weeks. I'm not entirely sure.
It's hell no matter what.
Yeah, so I get down there, and the competition is held in a village called Koper, Koper, a beautiful, beautiful little place right on the Baltic Sea. And the arena where the show is open air and the backdrop of the stage is the Baltic Sea. And that was really, really, really so incredible.
Yeah.
We got carried on our hands there, I have to tell you. Everybody was friendly. I felt at ease immediately. That was the Friday. We did the weigh-in. It was only me, and I took another girlie that I was working with, and of course Tracy. And we went down there, and that Saturday morning, I'm thinking, all right, because I came late for the weigh-in, I think it's not a lot of people. I get onto stage with 22 over 50s, 22 athletes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And
That's
here's
crazy.
the truth. And here's the truth. Everybody looked like me and better than me. So I managed to grab an 8th place there, which I was very happy with, I have to tell you. It was the athletes were really spectacular. And when you look at the quality of athletes in Europe and Eastern Europe, there's a massive difference between the athletes the Italian athletes, the French athletes, and the Hungary, Poland, Spain athletes. The Europeans are grainy, skinny, rock hard, where the Eastern Europeans leans more towards the NABAC look, thicker, rounder.
Yes.
So, when I look, and even to this day, when I pick my teams twice a year to travel, I pick them accordingly, because I'll never send the guy that I believe must go to Copa or Eastern Europe to Europe, and vice versa.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So having said that, so basically that's what happened. I then joined the federation. I came back here. And I said, all right, well, I think this is a good federation. We're going to run with it. And in 2015, we had our first show here. 6 athletes. Man, was I disappointed. I mean, here's the president of WPF that was putting shows together in South Africa with 150, 200, 350 athletes, and I can only muster 25, 26 athletes at my show.
Yeah.
The arrogance came because Arnie thought that people will just follow Arnie because Arnie is Arnie. But this country doesn't fucking work that way.
No.
To say. They want to sit, they want to watch you, they want to criticize you, they want to cut your balls off. And then when all's said and done, they come and join you when you're still there 3 or 4 years down the line.
Yeah, when you're on the top.
Yes, sir. 100%. Nobody wants to go and join a small federation, because what is a small federation? This small federation, what can it do for you? How, why must I compete here if I can compete here? So you know what the athletes are like. Athletes are all the same when it comes to preference in terms of what do they believe in. And you know what? That's their belief. You can't take that away from you. We can only school, educate, and groom. So
yeah,
that was my first experience in 2015, and from there on, listen, this federation grew rapidly because for 2 very distinctive reasons. The first reason is that we turned it into a proper business. We registered as a non-profit company. We opened our books for it. We ran it like a business here, and then we then decided, okay, how are we going to be able to get out there and give to the presidents of the provinces the possibility of being able to say, I have my own business. Nowhere else in this country do they do what we are doing. We don't appoint presidents and then take their money or take their shows or share their money. I appoint the president. I give him everything. It's his business. The only thing I do is I take my affiliation fee. His show, his money, his door money, his athletes' money. And listen, if a guy can't make it, that's why they leave my federation of some of the presidents, because they think it's easy to own a business. Unfortunately, not anybody can be a business owner. You can be a great athlete. You can have 50 people following you, but business is business. And every time people leave this federation, most of the time, and I'm talking about, you know who you are. I'm talking about those people. It's because they don't know how to run a business.
Yeah, it's a completely different ballgame.
Lyle, what
Yeah.
happens when you can't run a business? First thing, you lose money. Nobody wants to lose money.
No,
Nobody wants to
of
lose
course.
money. So the first thing you do is lose money. The second thing you do, you shut it down because, oh shit, I didn't realize it was that hard. So not only do we, do we give the president the opportunity to be a president of a very well established federation. I mean, we have already 56 countries affiliated to us and growing. Not only do we do that, we also give you the opportunity to run your own business within the structure of already stuff. I mean, everything is there. We're giving you. So here's a wonderful thing. So how much do you think should I be charging you, Lyle, for that business? If you have to, I mean, you're a businessman, but you're on a nice clothing range. How much do you think you should be paying me if I give you the opportunity to buy your problems?
Sure. I mean, look, a lot, you know. I
100
mean,
grand, 50 grand.
Yeah. I mean, geez, of
Can you
course.
see that?
0.
I give it to them for free. The only thing they have to do is be loyal, set up it properly, bring in your own sponsors, do what you need to do, and with the backing, of course, with the IBFF constitution. But I tell you right now, there's nobody in this country, and in fact, there's nobody in this fucking world that's doing it. In any bodybuilding federation. I want to meet him. Bring him. I want to meet him. It is exactly that. So first and foremost, we look after our presidents.
Yeah, which is very important, I think.
100%. So all I now need to do is make sure that my president looks after his athletes.
Yeah.
Because if you run a successful business, then it's easy to look after people in your business. Am I right?
Yeah, of course.
So the next thing these guys do is that they take these athletes and they make them part of their business. When you're a Chinese athlete, when you're a Gauteng athlete, you become part of that business structure, and you work in that, and you're helping that, and you assist in that, and everybody. That's why it's a family. And yeah, let me tell you, family fight, eh? Yes, Lyle, I have to tell you, there's more fights in this family than you will know. But when we close the doors, and it's all said and done, it's sorted.
Yeah, 100%. That's what's important.
Absolutely. And if we close the doors and it's not all said and done, then I don't want you. Go.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah. Because not everybody is going to like being part of this federation. They like the thought of having their own business. Everybody likes the thought of getting a business for free. Nobody likes to be a failure. And nobody likes to be called a failure when they fail in this business. And let me tell you something, they are out there and they know who they are.
Yeah, and also it's very easy, when it sounds so good on paper, and then now you almost feel like you're getting sold a dream, and then when it comes to putting in the work, it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't materialize for some people. So that's just I guess that's just the name of the game. It's about finding the right people to run and trial and error, I guess.
Please.
Sorry. To your credit, Arnie, I think it's awesome what you've done. In the short space of 8 years, and I've been a big supporter of the athletes. Obviously I've been a supporter of the IBFF itself, but I'm more of a supporter of the equal rights and equal opportunity for all athletes, no matter what. And there's certain things that I see, and this is actually what I want to get into. There's certain things that I see because I don't compete anymore. I don't compete, but I'm dealing with athletes all the time. I'm speaking to these people. I understand, and almost all of them say the same things, that this federation's too expensive. This that. There's always issues, and I'm to hear a bad review about the IBFF, But the only bad reviews I've heard, actually, now that I think about it, are people that haven't competed in the IBFF or aren't involved, you know. And that last podcast we did, you know, the caption was IBFF versus NPC, and you know, we kind of spoke about it, and we wanted to, you know, I wanted to get opinions from the athletes and try and understand the issues, because you know, the IBFF isn't perfect. None of the federations are perfect. Of course not. You know, nothing's perfect. But I wanted to understand from their side, because I know all of them and they've all competed all over in pretty much all the federations. I want to know from you, what do you think the biggest issue is with regards to in general, the federations in South Africa? Why is there so much division, and why is there so much politics involved? It just, you know, I haven't lived in America, I haven't lived in these things, but it doesn't seem like there's that level of politics going on there than what there is here.
Okay, I think I can answer that twofold. Let's first talk about administrators, and then we can talk about athletes, and then somewhere in between there, I want to throw in coaches, because I think that all, you know, it's all relevant.
Okay.
Let me first start off by saying, to run a federation is not easy. Whether it's my federation, whether it's the NPC, guys, there is everybody out there today that's a president of a federation in this country is going to agree with me. The fact that some of them don't like me much, they're still going to agree with me, because what I'm about to say is the absolute truth. Firstly, the federations are all internationally affiliated, right?
Yeah.
So, which means our constitution has already been written. So is IFBB, so is the NPC, so is PCA, all those people. So we abide by an international constitution. We have a local constitution, but at the end of the day, you abide by the international constitution. Also, don't want the constitutions to vary too much, because when you start moving athletes overseas, it becomes a hassle in terms of constitution. So, to abide by international constitution is not easy, because you get a lot of shit from the big bosses that doesn't even sit in this country and does not even understand what goes on here, right? Firstly, this is not fucking America. America's got thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of athletes. South Africa hasn't got that. So there is not a lot of animosity between athletes and let's just take America. There's only one federation in America. It's IFBB NPC. Have you heard of any other federation that's really huge there? No. We're all there. We're also no. So everybody pretty much competes with the IFBB or the NPC. So there's really no animosity between the athletes, because they know I'm competing here every year. I'm competing at the Branch Warren Classic every year. I'm competing at the Phil Hill Show every year. You know, that type of thing. In South Africa, it's not like that. We're small. There's not a lot of athletes, and there's too many fucking federations here. Every Jan Rappens and Mart's busy opening up a fucking federation. I don't know, and literally it's just to piss off people like me, because it's really, it is exactly that. And that creates a problem for an internationally affiliated federation. Because here's the thing, now you have a kid that's going to compete with an unknown federation, and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He might be a wonderful athlete, but he actually goes and compete there because his friend has asked him to go. So now all of a sudden, the poor guy competes there, he comes back, and then the next thing you know, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, because you've disappeared off my screen. Anyway, so
sorry.
There you are. Where did you go?
I don't know. I must have disappeared for a second.
So, you know, these guys get influenced by their friends, by influence, you know, influences, that type of thing. And it's a massive problem. Then you have, remember, let me start off by saying, we do 18 to 20 shows a year. So does NPC, so does PCA, so does IFBB. So let's say there's 100, let's say there's 200 shows a year in South Africa. No wonder the shows are overlapping one another. No wonder all of those things happen. Let me just take a step back. When Concept was running this whole thing, there was no show that was overlapping, no show. Because everybody needed to send the stuff into Concept. Concept made, had a look at the dates. There was a calendar, and everybody just fit into the calendar. Finish.
Yeah.
Now, Arnie is pissed off with Wayne, so I now book the same date as Wayne. And I'm just using it as an example. Or vice versa. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And I still agree to this day that if these guys can get it into their minds and their hearts, I'm very happy to sit around the table with everybody and see if we can't get back to that Concept kind of setup. The problem is very simple and very easy. We are controlled by the international federation's big boys. So maybe they don't want us to get together, and maybe they don't want us to coincide as one, or whatever the case may be, because they don't benefit. They don't benefit.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the best federation in the world right now in terms of athletes? NPC. Right? All right. What is NPC in South Africa? 2, 3 athletes. 1 athlete on stage, 2 athletes on stage. It's embarrassment. It's absolutely embarrassment. And I don't say it because I'm the president of another federation. I say it because I am a staunch NPC follower. I follow the big boys. I've been to Olympia. For me, an athlete is an athlete. It's not where you compete. But the system overseas has created such a problem for the NPC over here that these guys don't make money. I mean, fuck it. They have to register, have to pay dollars. I'm living in South Africa and I have to pay dollars to compete. So the money is going out of the country. What does the taxman say about that? Actually, what does the taxman say about that? You understand what I'm saying? It's a problem. And once again, it's not our local luck. You know, you can't go and throw the blame at the door of Garen and Candice. They inherited that. They bought into that. That was their decision to be part and parcel of that. But it creates a problem for an athlete. Guys, I'm competing at the NPC. That's fucking nice. There's one up on the stage, lacquer. No, we never compete in your federation, Arnie, because we compete at the NPC. That's lacquer, boys. Come to my federation. I got 20 oaks in the same lineup on the same stage. So do you want to be number 1 of 1, or do you want to be number 1 of 20? And that creates problems. And you know what? That's where the animosity comes. That's where the problems between the federations come. And it's because the presidents are not talking to one another. Egos are too big.
Yeah.
Or is it stomachs? I'm not entirely sure. Irrespective. I'm just joking, gentlemen. I'm just joking. It's not personal.
No, but I mean, you're right. And that's actually what I said on that last podcast. You know, I would have thought that there must be a way, you know, for everyone to get together and discuss exactly what you said. But you did clear it up, you know, that it's not entirely up to them. It's about, you know, getting in contact with the people overseas. But can they not, you know, well, I was going to ask, you know, they can obviously contact them, but there's no benefit for the NPC to do something like that, you know? But, you know, also the issue lies, like you said, it's the athletes now want to compete in the NPC because they see it as their golden ticket to get their pro card and Olympia and all that stuff. But in the same time, you know, they're burning their pocket because they got to pay in dollars. And I've had a look at that and I've tried to understand it, but it's almost ridiculous to me because I personally, if I was in that position, I would say, no, I'm going to go compete in another federation where I can, like the IBFF, where I can really, you know, try to hold my own. If I can hold my own at the IBFF, I know that I'm somewhat quality. I've got quality, you know, I've got a quality physique, and rather save my money and go overseas and compete at the Amateur Olympia or whatever you want to do to gain that pro card. So it's almost a shame because I've also sat at an NPC show, a few of them, and someone prepares for, and you know, it's not even the federation like that takes a knock. It's, you look at an athlete that's been preparing for almost the whole year for the show, and they get on stage and there's one other person or it's just them. I mean, it's terrible. I know from personal experience. I competed at one NPC show a long time ago, and there was 3 guys on stage. Look, I looked shit. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't have won in any case, but you know, I wouldn't have done well in any case. But just the fact that there was 3 guys, I didn't know how to gauge myself, because if I came last or I came first, it didn't make much of a difference. So yeah, I just think there's a few issues, and it's nice to get it from the horse's mouth, you know, to get it from you, so people can try and understand that it's not Candice and Garen's fault, it's not Wayne's fault, it's not 100%. Your fault.
100%.
And I know a lot of people put those, you know, those people on blast, and they kind of insult them behind doors. And if you don't have the knowledge, that's what you would do. You know, you'd sit there and go, they're the face of the company, it's their fault, but it's obviously not. So it's actually good to hear that.
How much do you think it costs to put a show together? A general, let's say a provincial show.
Well, I mean, if that's tough for me. I mean, I know if I look at the Cape Classic, that couldn't have been cheap to put together. That must have been lots and lots of money. Yeah. Just to rent out the Civic Centre must have been, you know, a hell of a lot. But to put a number on, I'm not too sure.
So I don't particularly want to talk about the IBFF, because I think when it comes to venues and trophies, we're way ahead of everybody else. And I don't think so now, because I know what type of money gets spent. Okay, and that's why we lose at shows, because we spend way too much money on venues and we spend way too much money on trophies. And that actually makes us run that specific show at a loss. And you're welcome to approach anybody in my federation, they'll tell you the same thing. The biggest cost in my federation is trophies and venue, because I have a standard in terms of venue. I will not hold a fucking show in a school hall. I refuse to. I will not hold a show where there's not proper lights and decent ablution and facilities for my athlete. I refuse to. The others, guys, they do what they want to do. I don't particularly care what they want to do, because irrespective of what we provide to the athletes, if you're an IFBB athlete, you're always going to be an IFBB. You're okay to compete in a school hall. You're okay to compete here, and because at the end of the day, you get to go to the Arnolds and compete there, which is just 1 or 2 up from competing in a school hall these days, anyway. So, you know, it's true. Having said that, having said that, is that let's just look at a basic show. So, firstly, you have rent. So you go, and let's say you go with a school hall, right? And the school hall is 10,000 rand. Let's say 5,000 rand. Okay, 5,000 rand. 5,000 rand for the school hall. Now you get to the school hall. There's nothing in the school hall. Okay, it has to be draped. It has to be kind of like, dolly up a little bit, because nobody wants to go to a bland place. So let's say they spend a little bit of money on decor, this and that, the other. Let's say it's 2 grand. There you are. Where are we now? 7 grand. 12, that's 7 grand, right? Then the most important thing when you have a show in a school hall is lighting, because you don't want to get your athletes that train so fucking hard for 12 weeks, diet their asses off, come stand in a school hall and the lighting is bad, because you get to lose placings with bad lighting. And it's not what I think, it's what I know. So now you go and spend an additional 15 grand on lights, because lights are not cheap, like. You know, whether I'm getting a light, or NPC is getting a light, or PCA is getting a light, or WFF is getting a light, same lights. Yeah. Now you're already, so you're already up to 20. Let's say you're already up to 20. Let's say you buy the shittest of medals that you can get at 30 rand a medal, and there's 100 athletes. That's another 3 grand. And then you have your trophies and this. So let's say your trophies work you out on a day like that for 10K. You're in there for 30K. Right? Do you agree with me? 30K.
Yeah, 100%.
And then snacks for the judges and this and that. So no normal little show, entry-level little show, you can get away with for less than 50,000 rand. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my phone here, because I want to make a calculation, because athletes miss this. They don't understand when they say, Wayne has stolen the money again. Oh, Arnie has put the money, is buying a new car. Oh, this, that, and the other. let me give you an indication. So we got 30K, right? We got 30K. In order, okay, so you have to now obviously make 30 grand to break even. That's how business works. Let's say we're charging for the athlete to compete 250 rand a lineup. So it's 30K.
Yeah.
Divide by 250. So if I don't get 120 athletes for that show, I'm fucked. Are you listening to me? When last have you seen a show, an entry-level show that's got 120 athletes? We don't get it in South Africa anymore.
No, definitely not.
50, 60, 70, 80 is big.
Yeah.
70, 80 is big. So you've already lost.
Yeah, you're running at a loss, big time.
You're running at a loss. You're running at a loss. So where does these people think that we have all this money that just get thrown into something and it doesn't come out double on the other side? Life doesn't work that way. I mean, I can prove it to you. And that's a very standard show. That's not an Arnie Williams IBFF show. My shows go to 100,000, 200,000. Last year at the All Africa, it was 365,000. I paid 120,000 rand out of my pocket. And everybody is very happy. I've got books here. It's an NPC. It's a non-profit organization. We have to be very, very, very transparent. Come and have a look at my books. Very happy. Out of my pocket, I paid 120,000. Because of what we decide when we run a show. Here's my fortunate. I own a business. I'm very fortunate that I can use my business money to put in something that I dearly love.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Other people don't own businesses where they're able to take money and throw in the pot and say, I'm okay to lose 120,000 rand for my personal money at this show. Not everybody can do that. And that's why you find the standard of the shows are getting worse and worse because there's no money, Lyle.
I've noticed that big time.
There's no money. There's absolutely, we have athletes coming to us. And let me just say this, 80% of my athletes are black. Okay. And the reason 80% of my athletes are black is because we spend a tremendous lot of time on development. And your development consists of black athletes. We're going to the rural areas. So when we get to a show, you will find that 2/3 of the entrants are black. Firstly, here's a guy coming from a rural area. He's got no fucking money. Okay. He borrowed fucking money to get onto a taxi to get to Joburg to compete. Now he comes to the show and you want to charge him 350 rand affiliation. You want to charge him 250 rand to compete. The guy hasn't done a spray tan yet. They still hit him with another 200 or 300 rand for a spray. Where does a rural guy get $1,000 to compete? Where?
No way.
So where is the diversity of this fucking country? Where is the Rainbow Nation? Why do you think that? And you've been to my shows. Yeah. You've seen the quality of guys we put onto stage that has come through development. But none of these guys can go to the NPC tomorrow to compete because he cannot afford it.
Oh, exactly. It's exactly.
And can I tell you something? Any one of them, and I have done this not once but many times, I have said to athletes, your time in the IBF is done. You need to move on to the NPC. You need to move on here. You need to move on there. You know, you don't fit into the federation. I would recommend you go there. And I'm not just saying it because I'm talking to you. That's who I am, because I love the athletes. At the end of the day, for me, it's all about athletes. That's why we spend the amount of time that we do with development. You don't have no development, no federation, no growth.
Yeah.
Why do you think we've grown for the last 6 years, 7 years that we have now? Because of the amount of time that me and Thabo, and not really me, but Thabo, my development manager, put into development. And guess where the money comes from? Not from SASCOC, COCK, SASCOC, not from the government, not from the municipalities. from Arnie's pocket.
Yeah.
That's where the money comes from. And I do it with love. I do it with love.
Yeah.
How do
And
you not do it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's also, for the love of bodybuilding. But I was actually also saying that, I think might have been on the previous podcast. I was saying to Mickey, it's such a shame, because there are so many guys that don't have the money, that have incredible physiques. You can go anywhere in this country. You can go anywhere in this country to any rural area, and you'll see a guy that's never lifted a weight in his life, and he's maybe carrying a bucket, and he's got barely any clothes on, and he's got shoulders like this. He's ripped to shreds, and he's never picked up a weight. He's never taken a steroid. He's never, been on a diet. He's barely got enough food to survive, and he still looks like that. It's just it's awesome that you do that. It's awesome to reach into those places and find these athletes, because if it wasn't for people like you, first of all, they wouldn't know their potential. They wouldn't ever stand on stage. They would never maybe know that this is their passion. So I applaud you for that, Arnie. Really, I do. I think it's incredible. But what's your plans for the IBFF? Let's say in the next 10 years. How do you see it going?
10 years. Do you know how old I am?
I don't. I'm not going to guess.
Yeah, and I'm not going to share that with you. So, when we started this federation, we had a 3-year plan and we had a 6-year plan. Our 3-year plan, we managed to make, because we were still trying to find our feet, Lyle, and there was a lot of firstly, in the first 3 years, me and Tracy ran this federation all by ourselves. There wasn't presidents, there wasn't promoters. We kind of did everything ourselves. So after in fact, in the latter part of the 3rd year, we started bringing, because it's important, as I said earlier on, it's important to get the right person for the job. Yeah. Because we've had instances where we would appoint somebody and then everything implode because there's a problem at home, don't have money, this, that, and the other. But when you sit with them initially to put these deals together, everything is hunky-dory. Life changes. Yeah. And I understand it, and everybody else understand it. We also have to be human about that. So we had a 3-year plan, and we had a 6-year plan, 5-year plan, in fact. So the first 3 years we stuck to what we wanted to do. Our 6-year plan. Our 6-year plan, we already consolidated in year 5. So I was a year up.
Okay.
I was a year up. At that stage, there is, or there was nothing more for us to do in terms of just following the plan and the plan and the plan. We only really started spending a lot of. So the first 3 years was building the family.
Yeah.
Okay. And listen, we all know about family. Fuck it, is moeilijk. Family is, and when you start bringing family on board, that's not family that lives in your house and under your rules. That's a problem.
Yeah, of course, it's going to come with its issues.
100% for them and for us. So the first 3 years was to build the family and to build them solid. And I think in terms of the foundation that we've created on that, I think we were successful. I really like to believe that we were successful. And when I say successful, we were, irrespective of what everybody else saying, I think we're the first federation that had a black pro in South Africa. And that was Msumzi Wakashi. After he left the IFBB, he came to join us 2 years later. He got his pro card. So we have reached milestones that I wanted to reach, and that was one of the most, probably the most important thing for me for the federation to achieve. After the 3 years, the building the family, the next thing was to, okay, now we have to take this family and we got to consolidate it, and we have to now grow the federation. How are we going to grow the federation? Lyle, let me tell you something. If I'm going to Pick a top athlete in the IFBB right now that stands on stage, male. Shanti Mitchell. Shall we say Shanti Mitchell, because I know Shanti very well.
Yeah, okay.
If I have a choice between picking Shanti Mitchell and Zanandi, which just got his pro card out of 2 years being development, I pick Zanandi. I pick Zanandi because here's a guy that's still growing through the federation. Here's a Shanti Mitchell that has achieved everything in life that he can achieve. What is left for Shanti Mitchell, for argument's sake? And sorry, I'm using his name, Shanti. Sorry, I'm using your name. We buds, and I hope you don't mind. So there's nothing left for Shanti except for getting himself prepared, competing overseas. What value does the local federation get of Shanti competing overseas? What value does the local sponsor that sponsors Shanti get when Shanti goes overseas? Can I tell you? Zero.
Nothing.
Zero. Let's have a look at a big brand. And I had this conversation a lot with Matt from TNT. And the conversation always went like that. There is no value for us if our athlete that we sponsor travels overseas, because we don't sell overseas.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And we're talking business. We're not talking bullshit. We're talking business. So the investment for me is with my development guy, because Zanandi, that's just got his pro card, another milestone for the federation, because 2 years out of development, he literally came from development. We went to fetch him from the rural, got his pro card.
That's incredible.
So that is what I'm saying to the athletes. If you come to my federation, there's a possibility for you to get a pro card. Here's the other thing. If you get a pro card, you can travel overseas 5 times, anytime during the year, at your peril to compete at any one of the shows, and there's money to be won if you place top 3. Here's the thing. Here's the other thing. All right, so it's not the Mr. Olympia, but Mr. Olympia is only for the selected few. Yeah, I'm very friendly with a lot of those Olympians and ex-Olympians. In fact, Branch Warren, they do everything like we do it. Yeah, everything. There's nothing that they do different that makes them different, except for they balls to the wall. They train themselves to death, but they also battle to get sponsored. Do you think that the 3 million athletes in America are all sponsored? No. Top 10 Olympians are sometimes battling to get sponsors because there's so much to work with.
Yeah.
So having said that, it brings us back to the conundrum that's facing South Africa. I'm telling you right now, too many federations, too many private shows, too many this, too many that. It takes the focus away from what needs to be done with the athlete.
Yeah.
The athletes, if you're an athlete, you should be competing with a federation that is linked with an overseas organization. Otherwise, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, and you're wasting the effort, because after that show is done and dusted, you walk away with a trophy and nothing else. Not the opportunity to compete overseas, not this, not that. You're pissing some of the federations off because they demand loyalty, which means you can't even compete in that federation. So now you're limited. So just because you won a show in the middle of sticks like I don't know, call it Taekwondo, and you came first. Now next week you can't compete in the Sunfest because you're not loyal to the federation. You can't compete with Arnie because you're not loyal to the federation. Blah 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 blah. But we don't demand loyalty. We demand respect, because that's what you will get when you come to our federation. Respect.
Respect. Yeah.
That's all. There's no difference for me between my pro and my first timer, because that first timer is looking up to that pro. That pro team is a public figure.
Yeah, 100%. That's important. Important to, and what I've also seen is a lot of and maybe it's just my personal bias, I'm not too sure, but from what I believe and what I've seen is the IBFF athletes and as you call the family, they all seem to be mates. They all seem to be, they all chat to each other. There's none of this weird animosity that goes on, and from what I've seen personally, and that I think is awesome because yes, you're competing against each other, but there's nothing you're not. It's not rugby. You're not going head on head, and there's nothing you can do mentally to another person to, you know. So I don't understand having animosity in bodybuilding. It's not like you're gonna knock him off his game if you say some things backstage. It's not the way it works. So just being in that IBFF environment, I think I would recommend it to anyone. Just to try it. But so with regards to obviously the plans of the IBFF, will you plan to hand it over at some stage,
So,
or are you still going to be in it for quite a while?
so one of the milestones that I wanted that I wanted to achieve personally for myself in the first 10 years was to at least to sit on the executive committee um, of Worlds. So I got appointed as one of three members that was looking after or that is looking after all the pros in the world, and that was 2 years ago. So that was one of the things that was very special to me, because dealing with the pro is a completely different animal and a completely different kettle of fish. You know what I'm saying? He's a
Yeah,
pro, and therefore he demands the respect, and you deal with him differently than you would with a normal athlete. Uh,
yeah,
that is that because there is a huge divide between amateur and pro, massive. Um, in fact, I just posted a picture the other day on Facebook with one of our pro athletes, Zelly, where she competed, and then 2 years later she was a pro, and the difference, and it was so amazing to see the difference between where she was and what she became being a pro. And that's always what I say. No, it's two different entities. Okay. Having said that, so that is, that was far more important for me than anything else. As you know, at that stage, I was the IBF president for Africa. I controlled the whole of Africa, and we've had some wonderful things in Africa. Victor Hungwe from Zim got his pro card, one of the first black athletes on the continent in fact, even before Msumzi Wakashi. He was our very, very first black athlete, Victor Hungwe. And then Sylvester Mawulwa, 2 years ago, has subsequently left us and is now competing elsewhere, but also got his pro card, out of the African country. So that achievement for me was also nice to obviously to interact with the athletes from Africa. What I can say from the athletes from Africa that has competed in our federation, I don't know how they not managed to get how they managed to get these beautiful upper bodies and they can't get rid of the water from their legs. I battle to understand that.
so, yeah,
Be that as it may. So and then I was very fortunate to be appointed the world vice president last year. I'm now number 2 in this federation all over the world. And truthfully, Lyle, I don't think there's anything more for me to do. I don't think. Firstly, you must probably like to say, well, Arnie, why will you not be the international president? I'll tell you why. Because if I'm the international president and I have to host the world in South Africa, none of the athletes will come. The Europeans don't travel.
yeah, yeah,
Europeans don't travel. Europeans are very, very poor. So although we say, yeah, but yes, it's so cheap, it's 20-1, they are still very poor. They, compared to South Africans, Europe is poor, very poor. It's kind of like rural in terms of money there. So there would be no reason for me to be made the world president being a South African. Makes no sense. Makes no
yeah,
sense. So I really and truly believe that I have achieved what I wanted to achieve in terms of this federation. I have a few young guns coming through. That's definitely up for the South African president's position, and I think that could happen in the next year or two. I have a few candidates. I'm ready. To hand over that scepter, and then most probably sit another 2 years or 3 years. I'm looking to compete. Next year I'm 60, so I'm looking to compete one more time overseas. So maybe at that show I'll hang up the gloves. But I'm not entirely sure. I love the sport, man. I have to tell you, I love the sport. I love the interaction with the people. I like to hug people. I'm a Pisces. I'm a touchy person, and I don't think that mentally I'm ready to just turn my back and walk away from the sport. I think I still have a lot to give. I have a lot of experience, but 36 years in this game. I don't think there's anybody else that can say the same thing in this country. Yeah, that's why people think I'm arrogant. I'm not actually arrogant. I'm just well versed in the understanding of this bodybuilding fraternity in South Africa.
Yeah, look, it's a good innings. It's a good innings. That's one hell of a run. But yeah, look, I mean, obviously it would be sad to see you go, but at the same time, it's also nice to look at what you've done and hand over the torch to the next person, and also I mean, geez, it's impressive that you still have such a, how do I say, such a drive for bodybuilding, and you still want to compete and stuff like that after not just because of age, but because of 36 years in the game. I think that's awesome. So sorry, I don't want to keep you too long, but I actually want to just ask you about your last competition. Will you do the over 60 division, and then that's your last one done and dusted?
I think that is what I would what I would like to do. I think the best, and if I can just come back last year, the year before last, we had our show, the All Africa at Emerald Casino, and I got onto stage with my granddaughter. It was most probably the most amazing time of my whole life. My granddaughter at that stage was 8 years. She's a dancer, and we did a little guest pose together, and that to me was most probably one of the biggest highlights of my career, to be able to stand on stage with my granddaughter. As you know, my daughter competes, never gets to win, because if dad makes her win, you know what happens, eh?
Yeah.
Ask Wayne, he'll tell you. So she competes. She loves the competition. We normally place anything from third to sixth, because then nobody complains that it's daddy's girl and she competes in his federation. So yeah, it's true. Tell me I'm wrong.
It's always going to be that. Tell me I'm wrong.
But she loves competing. I love it to bits. It's for the love of the sport, and I think she'll get my daughter's nearly 40, so she'll also start getting involved more on the administration side of the business of the federation, and it will be nice to to have that legacy where somebody else also from the family comes in and be part of it. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening now, and we take it day by day. It's interesting. I'm excited for this year. We're planning some amazing stuff. We've got our first show, Soweto Development Show, in Soweto. So I reckon, so last year we had a similar show, 68 athletes. This year we're doing it very upper class. We're doing it in the Soweto Theatre, which is an outstanding theatre.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm hoping to get well over 100 development athletes this year. And I cannot see the reason why not. My counterpart, my chief and commander, Thabo Mpoza, has worked his butt off to get the athletes ready. So I am absolutely looking forward to do an amazing show. It's our first show of the year. We had we had a little bit of a teaser in King Williamstown recently with our pro Shane Kirsch. It was our first show there. It was successful, but we didn't get the numbers, and it was understandable, because all the IFBB athletes is down there, and IFBB can't compete in any other federation, as you know. So, but they all came and they support, and it was nice to see Chris and Abongile and the boys. Those are my friends, and whether they compete in another federation, that's not what it's all about. They're my friends. They've been my friends for 20 odd years. Every time I walk into the gym with them, we're friends. We don't say, "Hi, I'm Arnie and I am from IBFF." I'm Arnie. You know what I'm saying? So we're looking definitely forward to this year. Pro Divas is going to be massive this year. Massive. We're looking eventually to turn the Pro Divas into a proper beauty pageant. So that we can, and the intention with that show eventually is to compete with the Misses or the Miss South Africa, because that's also gone for a ball of shit in this country. It's all about politics. It's all about politics and money and all kinds of crap. So we are working very, very hard with massive sponsors to take that to the next level. We've introduced this year a face of IBFF Pro Divas, which has never happened in a bodybuilding competition, where anybody can come, fat, thin, long, tall, as long as you're beautiful. You're going to come on stage with a beautiful dress. You're going to feel beautiful, and we're going to judge your face. And
That's it.
Yes, and I want to tell you the sponsors that's coming on board there. Once we make them public, it's going to be a shock, because the people are sick and tired of the politics even outside of federations with pageants and model shows. Because I want to tell you, the bullshit that happens in federations happens out there too. It's not just a federation.
I'm sure. But that, I mean, that Pro Diva show is awesome. Absolutely love it. I mean, look, I know obviously the previous ones were mostly the female divisions, and we normally go for the big boys, but look, the actual production of the show and the quality of athletes was amazing. But yeah, anyway, so look, Arnie, first of all, I wish you well for the year, and obviously thank you so much for coming on. I learned a few things, definitely, and I'll definitely be seeing you soon at I don't know if you're going to be, I'm sure you'll be at the Cape Classic. I'm going to see you then. And thanks again.
I'm looking forward to the Cape Classic. I'm looking forward to see my boy, Mickey again, and Lexi. That's those two people are very, very dear to my heart, even more so now. As you know, the circumstances that Mickey finds himself in. We support him. We love him. We've done an amazing job in raising some money to assist him, which you don't find in the other federations. You know what I'm saying? That's going back to we don't preach. We don't talk family. We don't preach family. We are a fucking family. Yeah. That's what family would do to family. We raised 90,000 rand in literally 3 days for Mikey to help him, and it was easy. And every single person, there was people that sent 10 rand. There was people that sent 10,000 rand. But even that 10 rand made a huge difference. And we will continue doing what we're doing for the love of the sport and the love of the athlete. For me, I am the president of a federation, but I am the people's president. I mix with the athletes. I want to mix with the athletes. I want to know your name. I want to know your problems, because that's how we grow this sport. Not as a structured setup where if we don't make money, we don't have a show type of thing. It's ludicrous. What happened to fucking humanity? Has it died? Where's it gone?
It's a fantastic question. The more time goes on, the more I start to realize that majority of people aren't who they say they are. It's a weird time we're living in at the moment. It's strange, but look, going back to Mickey, I've got too much love for Mickey. What a good human being. Both him and Lexi, they're just awesome human beings, and I can't wait to see what he puts on for this year's Cape Classic. Can't wait.
Yeah, and I'm not going to tell either. I'm not telling. Are you done with me, sir?
100%. Thank you, Arnie. I really appreciate your time.
Can I then leave this to the masses, if I may?
Sure.
I'm reaching out to all the presidents of the federations in this country. I know we all have huge egos. I know everybody's for everybody. I know we're all battling and suffering to make these shows work. I know some other, some more than others, guys. But I think we need together. We need to get together. We need to start going back to the old concept, and it doesn't have to be a concept federations thing. I really recommend that if we can sit together at some stage towards the end of the year or the beginning of the new year, and we put our dates on a piece of paper, and we just spend literally, and we don't even have to sit in the same room, and we literally put those dates in. Every athlete out there can benefit. It's really irrelevant. I think in terms of numbers, everybody has the numbers. I think in terms of shows, everybody has their shows. Why can't we just sit together, throw the dates on the table, work out what works and what doesn't work, see how one can accommodate the other? And we're not doing it for us. We're doing it for the athletes. So every time there's 2 or 3 shows happening on one day, the athletes doesn't benefit. The federations doesn't benefit. So why can't we just sit together, put everything on the table, and try and come to some sort of disorganized chaos or organized chaos, and walk away there for the betterment of the athlete? Really, I mean, and I say that with all sincerity. It's not about this, that, or the other. I know I'm a controversial guy. I am who I am. I'm not fucking changing for anybody. But firstly, I have a love for the sport and a passion for the sport, and I don't believe that any one of the presidents out there does not have the same love for the sport as I have. Otherwise, you won't be fucking doing this job, because I know and you know that it's costing you money. So why can't we get together, sit around, and try and see how we fix this issue for the betterment of the bodybuilding in South Africa? No, we don't all want to belong to SASCOC. We don't all have to belong to SASCOC. In fact, I refuse to belong to SASCOC, but there is definitely room for improvement, and there's definitely room to talk amongst the presidents in terms of how we can better everything in lieu of the athletes. I hope I've made my case. I'm reaching out. I'm saying, here I am.
There we go. I'll look. I'm going to try my best to make sure that as many people as possible see this, and hopefully something comes from it. Hopefully something comes from it, and I mean, let's see if people aren't as hard-headed as what I think.
Much love, my boy, and I'm looking.
Much love, Arnie.
I'm looking forward to see you in Cape Town.
You too.
100%. Until we meet again.
Thanks, Arnie. Have a good one.